victorious New South Wales combination, and we're about to get underway in the Queen's Cup. Exciting race this one. In lane 2 Victoria, lane 3 Western Australia, lane 4 Tasmania, in 5 South Australia, lane 6 New South Wales, lane 7 Queensland, and in lane 8 the ACT. And I might add too that Victoria have won this race 8 times in a row and going for 9. And David Colvin and Tom Abrowski, the coaches of Victoria, they must be pretty confident because they've got a very strong crew here with the Cox, Lizzie Patrick. Phoebe Stanley is in the stroke seat. And I noticed that Charlotte Sullivan is a late withdrawal from the Victorian crew. She rode earlier today. She's rowing in the World Cup, and so she has been replaced by Sophie Sutherland. Lucy Stephen's still there, as is Pauline Frasca. Katrina Bateman, who's rowing tomorrow in the World Cup. Then you've got Rebecca Hooper, Beck Danaher and Jennifer Cleary. And so I think Jennifer Cleary was also in action earlier today. So a number of these rowers have competed already today in races in the lead up to the World Cup. So a number of withdrawals from rowers who are competing in World Cup events tomorrow. We saw it earlier today with Kim Crow pulling out of the women's single sculls, which was won in spectacular fashion by Sally Keogh.
Well, here we are, the girls in the women's 8 settling into the starting blocks here for the Queen's Cup. There's great passion, and I certainly know that from the Victorian girls, great passion for this event as they settle down and they get aligned by the aligner. They go off with a set of lights behind them, and their starter also presses a button to sound the buzzer, so then they'll leave the starting facility. But it's a bit hard to pick who's going to perform here because we've got a number of Olympians in these boats, but the question is how much have they done, and then we've also got to consider how much other work have these girls done through the inter-club national championships with other World Cup events to come later in the day, later tomorrow.
Let's have a look here at the domination of Victoria in this event. They've won 11 of the 14 contested races since 1999. Of course, before that, it was raced as a fours. And there's Tasmania, lane 4, 7 new crew members. The young crew almost young enough to row in the Youth 8s. And then South Australia alongside them in lane 5. And the South Australian crew stroked by Molly Goodman. There has been a change there. Jason Lane is the coach. So some changes around various boat positions and a lot of these boat classes we've seen here today. New South Wales in lane 6, and Sarah Cook, who was commentating with us over the last couple of days there. There she is in the 6th seat. So Sarah, she's been busy. How much time she spent in the boat because she is a member now of the Australian sailing team after competing at 2 Olympic Games in rowing.
How about that switch from rowing to sailing? And I was just saying to Sarah, they're similar in some ways in that they're on water, but I think she's probably going to put a fair bit more energy out here today.
I reckon so. Queensland in lane 7, coached by Tom Westgarth, and the stroke there, Jessica Hall. And the Australian Capital Territory, coached by Dafford Gwyn-Jones from Canberra Girls Grammar. He's had a very successful week too, I might add, Dafford Gwyn-Jones, but a lot of the young crews coming through from the ACT. Nick McDonald-Crowley also involved in junior rowing in Canberra. And so we're about to get underway. The stroke there for the ACT, Jackie Williams. And this is for the Queen's Cup, the Women's Interstate 8s. And Victoria have won this race 8 times in a row. Can they make it 9 here today? Red light, green light will go on shortly, and they're away in the final of the Queen's Cup. Far side of the course, it's Victoria in lane 2, lane 3 Western Australia, in lane 4 Tasmania, 5 South Australia, in lane 6 it is New South Wales, lane 7 Queensland, and in lane 8 it is the ACT, centre of the course, South Australia, Tasmania, Western Australia, Victoria, and New South Wales in lane 6. Far side of the course it is Victoria going out strongly. Alongside them Western Australia in 2nd place, lane 7 it is Queensland.
Oh, Victoria's taken a flying start over there, thank you very much, and have taken a canvas over WA, and they've pushed the rest of the field back nicely. So look, the Victorians are looking very good here, biting those oars in deep and really hanging on. It's all about leverage.
And Western Australia going with them. Western Australia, strong combination from them here today. The stroke, Alexandra Hagan in the 8 in London, Hannah Vermersch also in the 8 in London, and then you've got Ashley Miles. So they've got some experience seconds there, Western Australia. They're in second place at the moment. Victoria out in front, and they lead by half a canvas. Lizzie Patrick, the Cox, the strokers, Phoebe Stanley. That is the 8 combination from the London Olympic Games as well, and they now lead by half a boat length. It's Victoria in first place. They're going out very hard early in this race too. It's Western Australia in second position. In third place, it is Queensland in lane 7.
The Victorian crew there, nice handy lead, stroked by Lucy Steffen. We can see her in the back end of the boat. That's the stroke. She sets the rating, the rhythm, and the rest have to follow her. But great experience from the Cox and Lizzie Patrick, who's steered the women's Australian 8 at the last 2 Olympic Games.
Through 500 metres, Victoria leading Western Australia by almost 2 seconds. Western Australia in second position, Queensland in third, South Australia, New South Wales and Tasmania bring up the rear of the field. It is still Victoria though in lane 2, leading by 3/4 of a boat length. If anything, they've extended their lead over Western Australia. Can Western Australia hang on here? Because Victoria really putting the foot down early in the race. They haven't even gone through 1,000 metres, and Victoria now lead by 3/4 of a boat length. The crew in lane 7, Queensland, just holding on. They're in third position at the moment. In the centre of the course, it's New South Wales and South Australia. Tasmania there as well, but it's Victoria out in front, going for 9 in a row in the Queen's Cup in the Interstate 8s, and look at them go. They're flying at the moment. Lizzie Patrick, Phoebe Stanley, Lucy Steffen, Pauline Frasca, Katrina Bateman, Rebecca Hooper, Beck Danaher and Jennifer Cleary, and of course Lizzie Patrick. You can see her there, the Cox for the Victorian Women's 8, just bellowing out instructions. She hasn't stopped from start now, and it looks as though Victoria going along nicely, and they've moved away, if anything, from Western Australia. They now lead by a full boat length. It's Western Australia in second place.
There's great experience from Phoebe Stanley there in the 6th seat, and we number the crew from the bow end. The bow end is the far end, down to the stroke end from 1 down to 8. But Phoebe Stanley in 6 and 5, Pauline Frasca. They've got years of experience representing Australia. They'll be enjoying themselves sitting out in front. They're looking back on the rest of the field.
And it's Victoria out in front through 1,000 metres, and they've got almost clear water with second place being Western Australia. Here comes Queensland vying for second place with Western Australia. Almost 5 seconds though behind Queensland. And we see Victoria and New South Wales and also the ACT, but it is still very much Victoria out in front, and the Victorian combination, and you can sense the experience here. Good coaches too, with David Colvin and Tom Obrowski. Obviously they've had a little bit of time in the water together. I know a lot of these other crews haven't spent too much time together. There have been a couple of late changes to seating as well in the lead up to this race, but it is still Victoria out in front in the Queen's Cup, the Interstate Women's 8, and Victoria going for 9 wins in a row.
It always looks too easy, Tim, when they're rowing well. The Victorian girls just placing those blades neatly in the water at the catch, and then just taking a nice, long, patient, hard push on the handles, and they're rowing away from the opposition here.
They now lead by 1.5 boat lengths. It is still Western Australia in second place. Here comes Queensland vying for second place with the crew on the inside of the course, Western Australia. Queensland still in third, but it is almost daylight in second place as Victoria go away with this race. Victoria, very strong combination. The experience really showing. Stanley, Patrick, Steffen, Frasca, Bateman, Hooper, Danaher, Cleary. And we can see this combination just moving along nicely. And of course Sophie Sutherland has been brought into this crew as well. They had Charlotte Sutherland training with them, but of course Charlotte Sutherland has been involved in the World Cup in the lead up to tomorrow's event here at the Sydney International Regatta Centre. There's the Victorian combination from the back as they move through 1,500 metres. It is Victoria very much out in front, races on for second, and here comes Queensland. Queensland moving into second place, just ahead of Western Australia, and Queensland 5 seconds behind Victoria. Here comes Queensland. Can they catch the Victorians?
5 seconds, length and a half, another 500 metres, about 1 minute 30. So is that enough time for the Queenslanders to claw back that 5 seconds? That lead the Victorians got, particularly in the 8, which is a fast-moving boat, is going to be really hard to drag back.
Well, Sally Keogh's in the Queensland crew too. She's just completed the women's single sculls. She'll sleep well tonight. But it is still Victoria out in front. They lead by, if anything, they've extended their lead to 2.5 to 3 boat lengths on on the rest of the field. Queensland in second place and Western Australia still in third. Very strong combination this. Victoria well out in front, and the Victorian combination, don't they look good? And Lizzie Patrick is just still yelling instructions. She's not giving up. She's not realising that there's any real contest coming from any other crew. She's just saying, let's push it to the finish line, and that's exactly what they're doing. 150 metres to go. It is still Victoria out in front, and this Victorian combination looking nice. They're looking strong and certainly pushing it towards the line in emphatic style. They lead by 4 boat lengths almost from the rest of the field. It's Queensland in second place. In third it is still Western Australia vying for second place with Queensland, but well out in front. Daylight second. It is Victoria well out in front as they push it towards the finish line now. Only a couple of strokes to go, and Victoria will win the Queen's Cup for the 9th time. A great performance by Victoria. They've won it 9 times in a row now, and Victoria crossed the line in first position. In second it will be Queensland, and in third Western Australia. In fourth South Australia just crossing the line now, and a number of other crews about to cross the line too. New South Wales and Tasmania, and here comes New South Wales. The ACT, they're there as well, but here comes this combination from Tasmania. They've got about 25 metres to go, but what a great victory by Victoria, winning the Queen's Cup for the 9th time in a row. And they're almost too exhausted to celebrate, but I tell you what, that was a dominant performance. You see dominant performances, and then you see a performance like that where they won by almost 5 seconds from the rest of the field. Queensland in second place and Western Australia in third. Good performance, and Lizzie Patrick there, the Cox. She'd be just as tight as the rest of the crew, I would imagine, because she put a lot of effort into pushing her crew along as we see the start here. And Victoria in lane 2. And the replay just showing the Victorian combination doing it easily in the end. And Lizzie Patrick, you saw her just a couple of times during the race, Peter, looking across to her right and just looking for the challenge, but there was nothing to see really. They were so far back you wouldn't have been able to see it, and she just yells out at the finish line as they cross the line, and she just yelled instructions almost from woe to go there and kept her crew going. And a very strong combination, a lot of experience there too with the likes of Phoebe Stanley, and then you've got young guns like Lucy Steffen coming through, Katrina Bateman, and also you had Sophie Sutherland in that Victorian combination. So Victoria winning the Queen's Cup for the 9th time in a row. Great performance, and very shortly we have the King's Cup for the men's 8s. That's coming up right here on Fox Sports, coming up shortly.
The Sportsbet NRL Money-Back
to get their oars in the water, and they're very tired. Great performance though by New South Wales in winning the King's Cup, and we're about to see the medal presentation now for the Queen's Cup. And this of course was won by Victoria for the 9th time in a row. And there we see Phoebe Stanley, Lizzie Patrick, Lucy Steffen, Pauline Frasca. There's Katrina Bateman, Rebecca Hooper, Beck Danaher, Jennifer Cleary, and Sophie Sutherland there as well. And so the presentation about to take place with Victoria, and there is John Boltby, Kate Lundy, about to present the medals to Victoria for the Queen's Cup. And a great performance there by the Victorians, finishing in first place.
They've certainly got a great culture around it, you know. They just want to win this race. They get together early, they build a strong spirit, and they hold, I suppose, the goal of maintaining this run very, very highly in their minds. So Victoria again dominant in the Women's Queen's Cup 8 award race.
We have seen Victoria too dominate in that university race in women's, and the men's dominated by New South Wales with Sydney University. So there is a little bit of a trend there, isn't there?
Well, that's right. I mean, there are a number of very strong rowing clubs around the country. Mercantile Rowing Club, which had the majority of the Awesome Foursome, who we know well, are based in the Mercantile Club. Melbourne University, seven Olympians. Sydney Uni and other clubs from Sydney producing a lot of Olympians for Australia. So strength at the club level, coming through to the interstate level, and then moving on into the under-23s and elites. The club system is very strong, and working very well, I would say, with the institutes, the state-based institutes and the National Institute of Sport in Canberra.
Yeah, great shot there of Lizzie Patrick receiving her medal. Well, a short time ago, Hannah Every Hall on the pontoon spoke with Phoebe Stanley